Frontline Chat with Harry Tangye and Dave Wardell.
It's all yours, mate. It's all yours. It's on you.
So it's all Finn. It's all about Finn. Oh, he's having an ear scratch. Oh, he
Feels
loves
good.
That
feels good. That
Oh.
feels good. I'll just leave it on that for a bit as people join.
Yeah.
Hello, Finn. You're a good boy. You're a good boy, Finn. Hello, boy. Hello, boy.
We haven't been here for a few weeks, so we thought it was probably about time that we came and saved you from Harry.
Yeah.
And give you an update on Finn. I'm just going to get him some of the bits that you guys have been sending to keep him occupied while we.
I'll zoom into him again when he's there. Oh, look at that. No, I'm going to get him now, actually. Look at it. He's gorgeous.
There you go, Finn. Right, let's give him that. You girls can have those. Everybody gets a treat. He's got bone and a snuffle mat and all sorts. So hopefully he'll be nice and busy. And I can talk to you about what's been going on. Harry, come back. Harry, come back.
Hello, buddy.
That's the reason we're all here, Harry. So,
I was going to do something disgusting then. Right, mate. How are you? I've missed you. I've missed you from your muddy, wet field last week.
Yeah.
And but we sort of battled through. Really, it's a bit bright here. That's it. Oh yeah, you've got this nice yellowy Christmas glow on you, mate. It's It's too early. I know it's too early.
I know it is too early, but I got my first Christmas decoration out. Just there. Look, don't.
What is it?
I know it's naughty. It's like a village, a snowy village scene. I'm not taking you over there because you'll be like, "Oh my god, that's so cheesy."
Right, that's enough of him now. He mentioned the C word, so we'll carry on without him. And all right, that's not. You can't mention the C word until the 1st of December.
I know. There's something on the radio at the moment about if people come on and get the questions right, they'll play Christmas songs, and no one has. But yeah, so you guys haven't seen me, but Harry has. What was this? A couple of weeks ago now.
Yeah, this is Dave laughing at one of my jokes.
No, can't be one of your jokes.
You know.
By the look of Arthur's face, it was one of Arthur's jokes.
It was definitely one of Arthur's jokes. Wasn't he the loveliest man in the world?
You know what? I'd shared a little bit of a train journey with him up there. We bumped into each other on the train, and I can't believe I'm working with a guy that I've watched on the telly since I was a lad and listened to on the radio since I was a lad. It was just incredible. And yeah, what a really, really, really nice guy. Such a lovely guy. And
all those people all those lovely people that turned up. It was really good to meet all those people that turned up and supported the event. And Ian Paulson Davies on the end there was really top host.
He was
really good. And they want to do more, don't they? They do. Yeah, so
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. We just had a blast. It's just like talking on here, wasn't it? Really, but
it was, yeah,
a bit more personal.
I understand we're competing with the rugby today, but clearly Finn is way more important than the rugby. So thank you ever so much for joining us.
Nice one.
So shall I give everybody a bit of a
do it. Yeah, that'd be good.
1 second.
Oh, okay, guys. Let's have a look. See if we can find anything incriminating in here. It looks like Santa's grotto, doesn't it? It does. It's that really lovely.
It's Dave's grotto.
I need more of a glow going on here. That's my light. It's just falling down.
So for anybody who doesn't know what happened, Finn's obviously he's a 12 and a half, more than that now, year old retired police dog who he's I credit with saving my life, and he's saved other lives, and he's caught countless criminals, and he's changed many laws and created many laws around the world, and he's my hero. And but he's fiercely independent. He likes to do his own thing. He doesn't like being helped much. He'd rather do it himself. So he's coming down the stairs 3 weeks ago today. Coming down the stairs at home, and he always jumps the last step. He had no idea why he does it. Obviously thinks it's fun. He doesn't want to jump the last step. It's beneath him. And so he always jumps over it. And 3 weeks ago today, he jumped the last step. And as he landed, he did the splits and slammed his backside on the floor. Now, he didn't think anything of it. He didn't wince, he didn't moan. He got up and he carried on following me out to the van because we were going out for the day with him and the other dogs to do some dog training. And we were in the van for about an hour because we had some errands to run beforehand. And when I got him out at the field where we go, an hour later, he was not thin. He was struggling to keep his balance, and he fell over a few times, and it was really heartbreaking to see. But it came on so suddenly, I thought, well, it must have happened from that as opposed to some sort of degenerative disease. Now, he is a 12-and-a-half-year-old German Shepherd, so I don't doubt that there is other stuff going on. We know he's got arthritis. We know his hips aren't as strong as they used to be. But this came on really, really suddenly, and it looked horrible. I mean, it just broke my heart in two. So we got him to the vets locally, and they were very good, gave him the medication that he needed to try and start to calm things down, and said, if it hasn't changed, come and see us and we'll send him off for a referral. And in the meantime, Noel Fitzpatrick got to hear about it. He offered to do an MRI as soon as possible for all of us. And we sent him up there, or we went up there with him on the following Friday, and he had an MRI that took a long time to deal with. And we've got some discharge notes. I'll just show you briefly, which basically show that his spine is a bit wonky, a bit. There's 11 sites that have compressed.
Can you just show those again, mate? Can you?
There's 11 sites on his spine that have compressed. You can see the compressions along the spine. So 11 sites. So too many to operate on. They'd be making a bit of a gamble as to which ones are the worst ones. So they sent him home with rest medication for the first 10 days, which ran out midweek. And then he was to start a course of physio therapy and hydrotherapy, which he started this week. And that's really where we are. He has more up days than down days. The medication makes him a bit woozy because it's all to do with trying to calm the spine down, which obviously is slowing down some of the messages. If he walks slowly, which he doesn't understand what slowly means, if he walks slowly, he does pretty damn well. But if he sees something that he needs to get to quickly, there he is having his some of his physio. Then it all gets a bit wobbly because of the bulges in his spine, and everything is just taking, all the messages are taking just a little bit longer to get back to the other end. So, and he can end up doing himself some more damage. So he's still he's on a period of slowly increasing his exercise, but he's still supported during that exercise just in case he falls over. And there's all sorts of homework that we've got to do with him. Things like tickling his toes to make sure that the messages are still going back there and continue to go back there, because the spine apparently is very good at regenerating itself after an injury, but only if you remind it that it's got a reason to get better. So we keep tickling his toes, stimulating his toes. He's still got feeling back there. He's still got pain back there. So that's all good signs. We keep the range of movement and stuff like that going. So we will keep you further updated with how he's getting on. But as you can see, he's still his usual cheeky self who refuses to believe anything's wrong. He's still just as cheeky as he ever is. But there's things that we must do to make sure that his injuries don't cause, that his current condition don't cause other issues. So we've got to make sure that he tries, we try our best to keep him strong, because muscle atrophy is a rubbish thing that can happen to any of us if we get an injury. So we've got to keep him mobile, got to keep him moving. Yes. Funnily enough, I sent Rob the discharge notes. Rob, anybody who's read the book will know Rob is the vet that saved Finn's life, and he was incredible. I was all in doom and gloom, and the first vets had made me very worried, and I sent him them, and he said, "Oh yeah, my wife's got a worse MRI than that." So we got lots of people send us, amazing support and stories. Miracles Mission, who are on social media, please follow them. They're incredible. They've just been absolutely amazing. They've sent us stories of animals that have done very well. So there's no promises. We don't know what's going to happen.
So is it Nicky's asked a question there really in relation to that? So did the slip cause part of the issue, and then following the MRI realized there were issues caused from the job as such?
So yeah, really good question. We did see Noel. We were actually seen by someone else, but Noel was in London on the telly, and he came back and looked at all his scans and stuff. And they said it's common to see something like this in a dog that's been a working dog. It could be that the fall highlighted other stuff. It could be that where he's landed on his bottom, everything, all the spinal bits have all gone ding 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 ding, and now we need those to just relax and calm back down again. But we don't know how long that could take. It could take 6 months. It could be that we get some of them to calm down and others won't calm down. So it's we just need to keep. He's going to be treated even more specially than he ever is. So yeah, thank you. I mean we've had so many messages, so many gifts. Finn's had so much sent through, from people sending him stuff to keep him occupied whilst he's resting, through to people sending harnesses and slings, and Miracles Mission has sent him a wheelchair. So it's just been overwhelming, really. It's just been amazing.
Fantastic, mate. Thank you. Yeah, I just wanted a little shout out to Jackie there. I'm so sorry you lost your little girl last Friday. And she had DM from a stupid slip at 11 years, and she turned 13 last month. Absolutely heartbroken. Of course, there's just nothing you can say to help that, can you? It's just we all have to get there. We've all been through there probably once or twice as well. Yes, that's a good point. Go on. Good point by Jane here.
Just going to say, we've rebranded everything to do with Fabulous Finn. Colour on. Oh, there we go. We've rebranded everything to do with Fabulous Finn, the shop and everything, because we want it to be about Finn. He really is the inspiration for everything that we do, everything that we've done, all the law changes, everything. So we've rebranded everything, and obviously the money will help towards looking after him. Go on. Sorry, what did you pick out?
Yeah, so because we got this from the physio, what actually is happening here? Because physio, you normally don't put.
The reason he's wearing his goggles. Did you see the picture of me as well? I had to wear.
Oh yeah, let me have a look. I'll try to find it. Go on, mate.
Mine are amazing. So it's because he was having laser therapy. So that is it's like, she explained it as like extreme light therapy, if you like. It's the heat and the light, laser light penetrates the skin and gets down into the deep tissue, and just tries to, or hopefully helps to, start to calm everything down. So he's having the laser therapy. We talked about acupuncture, so he'll probably be having some of that. Yeah, I don't look anywhere near as good as Finn. Hydrotherapy, manipulation of his joints, massage. Obviously, they're trained in it, so they do a much harder massage, but I've been asked to do a much more gentle massage between treatments back at home. And yeah, we'll go from there. We'll share the journey with you, because I know lots of you, your animals suffer with all sorts of different bits and bobs, and lots of spinal injuries to German Shepherds. So we will share the journey.
So The big question here, because normally dogs retire about 8 years old, don't they? Really, from a very active life. Where if I was going to come back as a dog, it'd definitely be hopefully a police dog, because they just get the fun all day, every day. Whereas other dogs get to sit around a boring house for a lot of the time. So, but do you think that they should perhaps retire earlier because of their issues, or?
You know what, Jill? I think that's a fantastic question, and I did a lot of soul searching in the immediate aftermath of what happened, and I love that was Maxie burping in the background. Sorry, I love what I do for a living. I work my dogs so that they have fun. They have an amazing. I like to think so. Anyway, they're always happy and their tails are wagging. They have an amazing career. Thank you, Joe. Amazing time with me, and I hope that's the case for all police dogs. But I did do a lot of soul searching, and it upset me. I was Gemma will tell you I was in absolute bits, and it did lead me to question: should we be doing what we're doing? And I still don't really know the answer to that. If I can learn from this, if I can speak to experts because of this, and potentially, I don't know. I don't know.
They would be that. They'd be if they were such a thing as a wild dog, they would be that active, because they'd have to be that active to hunt and to.
Well, I mean, if they were a wild dog, they wouldn't live to 12 and a half. Wild dogs don't live that long. Once they lose their strength and flexibility and that sort of thing, they can no longer hunt, and then they, that's it. So for the fact that he's 12 and a half is amazing, but I hate it when people say, oh, well, he's 12 and a half. That's a brilliant age, because it's almost like they're saying, well, he should die soon.
Yeah.
Obviously, I hope he lives 500.
There's two things. There's longevity of life, that people like to extend the life of their dogs as much as they can, but there's also happiness as well. You could be the most bored dog in the world that's 20 years old because its spine's never been, literally just hadn't been stressed at all. But I think I prefer to have a lot more fun in the day, I must admit. That's my personal opinion.
There's no doubt that we should be learning. I don't know whether we are as an organization, but we should be learning. Are we storing? Clearly we are, but are we storing stuff up for these dogs when they reach older age? Well, look at Finn's MRI. Of course we are. After his cruciate injury at 4, I stopped doing anywhere near as much agility stuff as I did with him, because he knew what agility was. He was very well trained, so there was no point me putting him over fences and agility equipment twice a week. He didn't need it, and we were storing stuff up for him when he got older. His arthritis is clearly from a life of work, but if it had been a pet, the chances are he probably still would have had arthritis. There's an amazing charity called Canine Arthritis Management, which, again, any of you who've got dogs, I'd encourage you to follow on social media, and they'll tell you that from their studies and the studies that they found, that most dogs start to suffer with arthritis or show signs of arthritis from the age of 2. That's pet dog from 2, and that's just from us allowing them to jump the stairs and to jump up and down off the sofas when they're pups and stuff like that, which we all know we shouldn't really do, but we do. So there's lots of learning we've got to do, and hopefully we can learn as much as we can, and perhaps alter some of their training going forwards. I'm not particularly influential in the police dog world, but you never know.
Well, that's the that's not quite right. But where you want to influence, then that's a bit more difficult, isn't it? And that side of things. But you've certainly been an influence on the police dog world. Okay, so what's this message here? Where do you draw the line on working those sheepdogs, search and rescue dogs, police dogs, guide dogs? That's true. I know the impact levels are different, but can we provide something else to stand in for the dogs? Not really.
We can't at the moment. No, there's no piece of technology. I've told you all about the story of Trump when he went to a factory for a tech company that are building stuff, devices to sniff out bombs and stuff like that, and they wined and dined him because they wanted him to spend billions. And in the evening, he said to them, "What's the best thing for scent detection that you sell?" And he said, well, it's nothing that we sell. It's dogs. Dogs are the best. And that was the CEO of the company. So there is nothing that can do what they do. You know, one of the big things to come out of the MRI scan was that he doesn't have the big C. You know, I'm sure we've all had pets that have succumbed to the big C. So, you know, he's still fighting fit. Just the next chapter of Finn's life.
Thank you very much, mate. We shall move on for a little bit anyway. That was really good update. Thank you. And he looks so healthy. He looks so loving life still. So that's good. Thank you for that. Are you going to try to look like Father Christmas more and more as you get? Yeah, because I think you could be there, mate. You could be there.
I was thinking that the money raised could help to, you know, ramps around the house for Finn and a lift and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think the appearance fee for Santa is quite high. So I'm doing all right.
Good man. Good man. Right. What do we think of this then, everybody? Met publishes new policy on handcuffing. It's a really interesting document. It's like 50 pages. For me, I tried to get behind the headlines because it's like 44 questions that people should ask themselves. Before I ask Dave, I think I think there's usually two sides of this. Yes, you need to make sure that those who are shouting about it for the legitimate reasons, that it's the unwarranted use. And I'm not entirely convinced of that. It's that usual thing in policing, I find, where those who shout loudest get listened to. And I hope they're listening to the right people. The various questions, they've got an A, B, C, D, E here. And the A is apply the handcuffs. Okay. Not incredibly patronizing so far. B, be sure to ask the subject if the handcuffs are too tight. Now, this sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? But actually, we have to do that anyway. That's what happens now anyway. Even in Devon and Cornwall, you'd say, right, do you consider those too tight? And they go, no, they're all right. Or, yeah, they're too tight. And you can fit your little finger in the gap.
That's it, yeah. But I mean, the only caveat to that might be that initial scuffle. There isn't always a scuffle when you arrest someone. Sometimes it goes swimmingly and amazingly. But, you know, sometimes I'm dragging people out of bushes and they're fighting. Well, when I rarely put the handcuffs on because I've got a dog with 42 teeth.
That's true, mate. And that goes without saying. If someone's struggling, you're just slapping them on any old hour.
They might go on.
And they might go these on would normally, because I think the Met do an awful lot of this was because the original the Olympic runner and things like that, wasn't it, that said she was humiliated. Well, don't run for the police, I guess. Don't be in a car that does, at least. But basically, all that could have avoided if it was just compliant, and then you make the complaints afterwards. That's the right way to do it. But it seems to me, if you shout loudly, then people treat you with great importance. But I was interested about this because the Met always tend to, or a lot more than most other county forces, perhaps, handcuff before they search. Now, you and I know, Dave, it depends entirely on the intelligence, and that you're not going to search someone unless you've got reason to suspect anyway. Because I was always thinking, okay, how are they going to make a complaint against me? Well, there's no real reason for me to search them. They've just annoyed me. Therefore, I better not search them. Okay, that was a caveat. It says here, but check the handcuffs for tightness. You would do that anyway. That's no big new thing. Double lock the handcuffs. We'd always do that. You lock them, you see, everyone. And then if they're not careful, they'll lean back on them and they'll tighten even more. And now you can start causing some severe damage. So you always double lock them. And in that initial fight, you might not be able to double lock them, but you would as soon as you can, wouldn't you, Dave?
Yeah.
Always evidence the justifiable use of handcuffs. Yes, what you do anyway. So this is fine if you're a police officer, just made a police officer yesterday, and you're in your officer safety training for pretty much the first time. But this is going on anyway. This isn't new. This is common sense for mature officers who then.
Perhaps it's been released so that the public know what we do. But I haven't heard anything yet that's not already being done. Not everyone gets handcuffed, but most people do. Not everybody. You know, if you're arresting an 89-year-old who's stolen a bottle of brandy from the supermarket, I suggest you're not gonna handcuff.
You definitely would. I mean, no, you wouldn't. No, exactly that. I mean, because the whole point is, and the example I give as well is that I arrested someone for petty shoplifting, and they were really nice. This guy was really nice, and And I thought, I was chatting to him. He was in the back of the car. This was many years ago, and in Torbay. And then I got to the station, and I thought, I think I was so blasé with it because it was in my early years that I hadn't really done, I can't remember, proper checks or whether the checks were there, but the mental health side wasn't in there. And then I got his details of it were horrifying past with mental health and the violence that he'd caused. It was just through luck rather than judgment that I hadn't been attacked whilst driving that car on my own in a car. And I thought, I'm not going to make 30 years in the police if I give the benefit of the doubt to everyone.
Well,
and the police,
we have
with
had
gang crime,
we have had cops that have been attacked. We've had cops in our force in Hearts that have been attacked whilst driving, and a horrific accident was caused because of it. We've had, can't remember where it was, but there was that American guy, wasn't there, that the cops that stopped him didn't realise that he was wanted for a murder, and he sat in the back of the car and he shot him and killed him.
Yeah.
So you don't really know who you're dealing with. So,
well, how many times have we seen on TV as well as seen ourselves where I'm as a sergeant thinking, going past, I'm thinking he's getting a bit lax, and I'll fill in a gap because it's like, hello, mate, you're right, it's just, and it's like, push, gone. Because I'm just going to search you, shove them, gone. And that shove may be into the road when there's a passing car.
Yep.
It might be on the side of the motorway. It might be. So I can tell you now, the way the pressure is being put on the Met here, again, there's nothing wrong with academics, but it's when only academics are coming in with this and they say, we've spoken to lots of police officers and like, why am I just so suspicious that who have they spoken to? Have they been on the street? How many people have they turned over recently? They're dealing with gang crime. They've now got to give the benefit of the doubt to the detainee that you're searching. You've now got, so someone drives away from you, they eventually stop. They're incredibly argumentative with you, but you've got to give them the benefit of the doubt without asking yourself 44 questions. There's going to be lots of injured cops and there's going to be a lot of escapes.
Well, I did say, didn't I, before the show, Harry, that on a selfish note, it might mean more work for police dogs.
It will be. It will be. We've got a runner.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we used to say.
Trust me, you'll want to be handcuffed before you want to be found by a police dog.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It'll be more now. That'll be the next legislation. You'll get the College of Policing spilling out stuff about how your police dog shouldn't be biting so many people. We say, well, our work's doubled, so it's the handcuffing one. It's just more, I know the caveat will say, well, we're not saying you don't handcuff him. We just come. A lot of people can't see into the future. Also, while you're on the computer and you're doing this, you're not looking at the subject. And sometimes you haven't got the resources to say, well, you look at him, I'll do this, you do that, you watch, you cover that gap. I really fear this, the whole weight is against the criminal. There's gang crime that we don't have in Devon and Cornwall. So I personally didn't handcuff everyone I was searching. I would make damn sure I closed the door on them and I knew where they were possibly going to run, even if it was just a little teenager, but I wouldn't handcuff them but then I don't live in an area where there's mass gang crime. And I certainly probably would there.
No, it is difficult. We do need to justify ourselves. Of course we do. We always have, because we police by consent and all those other sayings that come from the founder of policing and all that sort of stuff. And we do have an amazing police force, but we're not punch bags. We're not, there's things we can do to make sure our safety and the safety of the detainee. If the detainee runs off and runs across a railway line or runs across a busy road and gets killed, well, then someone will say, well, you had an opportunity to make sure that didn't happen and you didn't take it. So, yeah.
So, we are talking about handcuffing people who are not proven to have committed a crime, and people say, oh, well, 70% of no further actions. That's 30% of caught. That's a fantastic result. And yet they look at that as a failure. It's so, it's just people drive me crazy.
Depending on where your argument is coming from, you can make your figures sound as good or as bad as you want. The one they always used to come out with, and we haven't heard it for a little while, is only 10%. No, only Was it only one? Was it 1% or 10% of stop searches result in something
Yeah.
greasy, in a crime being
Yeah.
detected? Well, actually, if I was a business owner and I did, I don't know, a door drop or a radio advert, and I got from that, I got 10% of business, I'd be thinking, blimey,
Yeah.
that's a great
Amazing.
business model.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what the answers are, but neither do the experts. So.
No, but they do have lots of discussion panels and they come out with 50-page documents, which will it improve anything? Will it create harmony within communities? No. I think the thing that needs to happen now, communities have got to start coming out to the police again and helping the police. Because there's too much. There was an interview recently I stuck on my thread. It was quite an interesting interview, but you could tell adamantly that it was still, you don't tell the police. And until that stops, the police can't do a thing. The police can still try to prevent crime. They can try to detect it. And you can complain about them as much as you like, the way they do it. But until people start coming out to the police now.
I get that people don't want to be snitches. You know, I was brought up in Southeast London and you couldn't be a grass. You couldn't be a snitch, whether it was to the teacher or your parents or your friend's parents or the police or whatever it might be. It was a real thing. You couldn't be a snitch. But again, like Harry just said, the knock on for that is, okay, you might not grass up on them when you saw them looking in someone's car to nick something and then something was nicked. Okay, but what happens when that's your car? What happens when it's your grandma's car? What happens when their behavior escalates and actually they've broken into your grandmother's house and she's in bed and she's petrified, and then she has a medical turn because of that, how scared she was, and then your grandmother, succumbs to, where does it stop? Because it's someone else.
I mean, I've got to say, I mean, and I wouldn't snitch at the moment if I was in one of those communities, because you haven't got the backing. That's why, I mean, the whole community have to say enough's enough, and some people are saying that, but they're being drowned out. So you've got how many gangs around London? And yes, of course, there's a disproportionate number of searches are on black people, but they tend to say that ends there. No one's saying, well, the reason is because there's a disproportionate number of murders and knife crime is committed by young black men. That's why. Why don't they just actually put all the statistics on the table and go with those communities, but the communities that matter, not the ones who are trying to make a name for themselves, the ones who really care and have an influence, and actually then say, look, well, let's do this trial period. You've got to, I mean, there's too many people. I hear these conferences and stuff, and they're all just trying to score points against each other. And I can't see it. I can't see it improving, mate. I really can't.
No, I can't either. I think America's shown us the way. And actually, I speak to my American cop friends, and I know you've got friends out there as well, and they're slightly ahead of the ball that we're on at the moment. And they said it's not getting better. Crime's getting worse, and the accountability that we have to show is getting much higher. So everything is leading towards the criminals winning. The criminals will be the only ones that win out of this.
Well, when we arrest somebody, first of all, we're asking them if their cuffs are too tight. We're actually then saying, would you like, oh, well, okay, we'll make time. Then they go into custody, and the custody is saying, right, that we are here for your safety and this, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but, they're caring about their health, their emotional state, their mental health, and, it's like they're treated with the utmost respect in there. And in the one way, you can see why, because it keeps them nice and calm generally. But you couldn't treat the criminal again. This is what I always said, is when I remember I knew it was lost when I was interviewing this sort of, I was like a 14-year-old child or something, an appropriate adult, whatever. And of course, the solicitor was backing up the child. And of course the child is now going to be looking at me going, yeah, you're wrong. Because that grown-up professional man is saying, my client doesn't have to talk to you, sort of thing, And you just think, well, we've lost it now. This is it. We've lost it, because that kid is never going to grow up with respect for the police, because we're the enemy. It's nothing to do with what's right and wrong.
Yeah, well, and that's it. You know what? They are maybe not people that are listening to this show, but it is our children. It is our sons and daughters that are out there causing the mayhem and causing the crime. And so we have a responsibility. You can't ignore it until the police get hold of it and then have a go at the police for getting hold of it.
I will just shout out because I used a bit of an article from these good people here, Police Oracle. Just realised that because it's a pay thing, but it's really worth it. They do a really good balanced anything you want to. Yeah, I get a lot of my information from them and things. It's really good. So I thought I'd just mention them. I don't get paid for it by them or anything like that, but as I've just nicked a bit of information from their stuff. Yeah. So apart from that, mobile phones, mate. There's going to be more. Basically, what they're saying. Technology often runs ahead of the law, and so when we caught someone on a mobile phone, they said, "Well, I wasn't texting." The law says that you're not allowed to. So in the end, we were told, "Well, you've got to actually see their lips moving, or them tapping on buttons." So, but now, if you are from 2022, if you're holding a mobile phone, even in a traffic jam is still considered driving.
Handheld device.
You can't scroll your WhatsApp, you can't scroll your music or anything like that. So there's a few things now that all of us are going to have to say, right, that's it now. So, I wouldn't be doing that anyway, scrolling music because can you imagine? They need to put more lay-bys out so you can change and forward wind that really rubbish song.
Yeah, but you know what? I was talking to someone about a slightly different tangent, but it is the same. I was talking to someone at work the other day, and they were like, "Oh, I used to look at my emails all the time, even on days off and in the evening, sat there with the wife. And if you answer them, they'll send you more." So it's the same with your tweets. If you think to yourself you're on the road for an hour and a half, just ignore your phone. You'll relax from it, and nothing's that serious unless you're a heart surgeon. That you need to look at it that quickly, and if you send them back a message, they'll just keep sending you messages, and then your concentration will go through the floor. We are, as humans, we are not built to do more than one thing at a time. We're not. Funnily enough, I was watching a program on Netflix earlier. We just can't do it. There was a paper from many moons ago that said that if we try really hard, we can concentrate for an hour and a half. But they think that might have got down to 90 seconds. So from 90 minutes to 90 seconds. But that's just because we don't practice concentrating any longer. We're always looking for the next distraction. Well, when you're driving a vehicle at 70 miles an hour on the M25, if you're ever lucky enough to get up to 70 miles an hour on the M25, you need your full attention because so much changes.
I was watching this thing on social media, and they were saying basically, when you write a message to someone and then it says so is typing. Well, they brought that in to keep the person on the other end, because if it didn't have that, you'd say, "All right, I'm going to write that message, put it away because they'll see it probably in an hour or so, maybe." And they go, "Oh, they're typing," and then now you're then on their system for longer, which means they've got you. And then where it comes with advertising and stuff like that, so it is a trick, because you think, but what if it's really, really important? And you have to get through that. It's quite satisfying going, "No, I don't think anyone will die by the time I get to the end of this thing with this message."
But you have to train yourself to do it. This is what the experts are saying. You have to train yourself to switch off and from all the 100 things that are trying to get your attention, and concentrate on the one thing that you're doing. When I'm at work, I'm concentrating on the dog that I'm training in front of me, and I can't do anything else because I'll go home with holes in me. And so, maybe that's what you all need. You all need an angry police dog in front of you to tell you.
They've had exceptions as well. They've got to put exceptions in, like you're allowed to use it to pay a contactless thing whilst driving. You think, hey? And to go through a toll bridge. But it has to be quite specific. So when you go through a toll, you're technically still driving, but you can tap your phone if that's how you pay. Or I used a credit card yesterday to get through the Tamar. So you have to pay to get out of Cornwall, but it's free to go in there. It's what you can imagine the ribbing on that. But so they have to think of everything, and then they which they often do.
I have been involved in writing a new law. I know how, and that was a simple one.
What's law that?
A lot going on. Yeah, did I ever tell you about that one though?
You must mention it sometime.
These massive multi-billion-pound multinational companies, like Harry just said, they're fighting to keep you with them, and they're all doing it at the same time. So if you've got all these things on your phone, your brain will will quite quickly flip from one to the next. So just practice concentrating on the one thing that you're doing, which should be driving.
And feel smug. It's like, you know, when you're with another passenger and it's like not your wife or anything like that, and you're just a passenger in the car, and say your phone goes ding, you know, and I've got a charging mat on the car, and you just ignore it, and you see them going,
what does it say? How can you leave it?
Either that, or they're thinking, is he going to leave it or is he going to pick it up? Does he practice what he preaches? And you're like that, smug as anything. All right. Like that. Hey, what about this? This one came up. West Yorkshire Police, PC Graham Keynes cleared of misconduct. This was the bit. This was the one when he said, told the man to chill out or I'll choke you. I remember at the time, and I think when cops, there's a couple of times when I've been in the struggles when I thought, oh, we're in trouble here. Again, personally, and it's probably because of where I live as well, personally in the counties of Devon and Cornwall, and there's plenty of violent situations we've had, I've never used that language. I'm not completely against it under certain circumstances, but I'm glad he got off because it's completely not losing your job type thing. And when you're dealing with a violent person who it's an equal thing, or they've got an upper hand, you've got to use every method possible to gain that sort of that dominance, you know. And so for armed response, if an officer says, yeah, get down on the effing floor, it's dominance means you can have less violence at the end of it, really, because they're like, all right. If they think they can take you on. So I'm glad. I don't know what you think on this, Dave. I'm glad that he got off, because it's not a sackable offence at all, and it's all very easy for somebody who's doesn't have to deal with this stuff. Look at it and go, "Wow, that's awfully rude. You shouldn't say that."
Yeah, if you work in an office and the hardest thing you have to decide is whether you're going to use a blue pen or a black pen, or have a sweetener or a sugar in your coffee, then that's me being flippant. But how can you tell these cops dealing with danger time after time after time, who will have seen their colleagues assaulted, will have seen members of the public assaulted? How can you tell them? I remember being told in training school that sometimes some of the people you deal with will only understand a certain type of language. And if you're there when they're kicking off and they want to smash your face in, or they're threatening to smash their mum's face in, or whatever it might be, if you're there asking them if they would rightfully mind, just stop using that profanity in the street because it's not right, and somebody may become offended. Or do you get in their face and say, use their language, the language that they understand?
Mind you, I did find that wound them up even more. I'd say, old chap, is this really necessary? And they're going, you effing C-U-N-T, you effing. I'm like, no, it's really unnecessary. You've got people walking by and this guy's getting wound up. It's so rude, just unnecessary. And mind you, if you're fighting with these people, it's slightly different. You sort of dawns on you, think, oh, I could lose this one. Oh, that's not good, because then you have visions of him getting the better of you and then stamping on your head and things like that, So you do anything to get out of that, and quite rightly too, the law protects you to do that. So that's on that one, really, mate. Let's have a look to see what else went on this time of the week. You
talked about mobile phones, didn't you, last week? A
little bit, but not. Oh, I like this one of yours. No, it wasn't of yours. Yeah. This is true. This is always true. When you see they're saying all these roughy tufty ARVs, and you put a dog in there, and then this happens. It's so true. It's when dog handlers bring a dog into the office. It's like, is that everyone just behaves like kids again? It's wonderful. It's like
that's why the Oscar Kilo 9, is it Oscar Kilo 9, the dog well-being thing has done so well in policing, because it is a high energy and right from people answering phone calls about horrible jobs. They take the dogs around at the police stations for everybody just to chill out. And getting hold of a pup like that is scientifically proven, provided they're not chewing your face, to lower your heart rate and your stress levels. So
totally get it. I mean, Arthur's been an absolute saviour to me over the last few months, really, and things have been a little tricky, and so he's absolute saviour. Oh, this is the one. Nick Hadley stuck this one on, just thanking people for their support. This was a car collision involving those police officers in there, and thank goodness they are in hospital okay. I remember a couple like that in Devon and Cornwall as well, because you've got some ground to cover. You've got those 999s. There's violence at the other end of it, or
that's horrible.
Or you're covering a distance because you've got a motorcyclist who's in a road that is injured, and you've got cars still. The next car could take them out, sort of thing. So you've got to make progress, and it was quite nice that it was Nick Adley's side of thing. Thank goodness the officers are fine.
Yeah,
but he wrote this one here. It's just saying, wish to express my sincere thanks to those members of the public who came to the aid of my officers following this horrific crash. So those first on the scene came and helped them out. Thankfully, they were safe and recovering at home with their loved ones. Walking away from the below wreckage is quite frankly a miracle. Absolutely. We did have an issue. Crikey. I won't go into much details, but Twitter really helped me out once, because I found there was potentially an issue with putting armory box in a certain type of car of the police, because what we found was when there was certain conditions in the wet, the car would just turn 90 degrees and fall off the road, usually sideways. Now, Twitter was amazing, because I then put a subtle message out saying, oh, anyone else got this little setup? Can you contact me? And they went, oh, yeah, we got it. I said, all right. And privately, I then said, okay, have you had ever this incident? And they were like, yes, unbelievable. And some officers were getting stuck on for their driving because of it. So it was really their heads up for Twitter that actually then got the problem solved. Yeah. Because, it wasn't car manufacturer's fault as such. It's just when the two came together with the weight of the armory box in a certain place. So they moved the armory box into lower, more central. And actually, they then found that it was actually more stable than a standard vehicle, because the weight was heavier and lower and more central. So it was actually safer in the end. So,
yeah, they walked away and it was a miracle, but I hope they get the help, because looking at pictures like that can make you think, crikey, I was lucky. And I can do things. I hope they do get that. I know Nick and his team will do all they can to support them. Blimey, thoughts go out to them.
Yeah, I remember one many years ago in Devon and Cornwall where the police officers were at a motorway, and they're sort of on the motorway, and it was quite sunny. They got out of the car and they were just waiting on the side, and this it was a post office van, big 23-tonner, literally took the car out, and it concertinaed the whole car up into nothing. If they'd been in there, they'd have been both squished. Yeah. And they admitted if it'd been raining, they'd probably been sat in the car.
Yeah.
But sometimes, that motorway is a dangerous old place, isn't it? It's
Maxie,
a dangerous old place.
It's Maxie. Come and say hello.
Hello, Maxie.
You want to cuddle, don't you, Maxie?
Hello, darling. Nice. You've got just a lot of fur in your house and everywhere, haven't it? It's just lots of fur. They all content. Does it ever kick off and they all start going for each other, started by the cat?
Well, actually, you can't say the cat's name to Wanda, because she's like, oh, where's the cat? Oh, funnily enough, look, talk to the devil. He's over there in his armchair.
Oh, well, oh, look at that. Surveying his kingdom.
Yeah. And there's Finn, of course.
There you go, Finn. What's in the chest?
And it sounds like there's trouble going on behind. Wanda's obviously found something down the back of the sofa she shouldn't have. Max thinking, I can get that. In the chest are blankets. In the chest is blankets.
Just being nosy now. Nice one, buddy. Nice one. Right, what's this week bring then, do you think? Anything? What's going on?
What, for me or generally?
Yeah, generally. Oh, I want to show you this one. We'll show this one. Oh.
Oh yeah,
Motorbike pursuit. So
lucky
sorry.
boy. Now, did you see the name of the company of the truck?
You will in a minute.
He's a lucky boy. He's making, for those that you can't hear the sound, that motorbike is making off from police officers. Nearly gets wiped out. Gets grabbed by a cop. A look at the name of the truck.
Oh, just
Super grab.
Super grab. We
amazing.
find your offenders anywhere. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, I can tell.
Great skills by the truck driver.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with that, as a pursuing, and I did a few pursuits near the end of my job in Torbay, and each one you're thinking, okay, I'm totally relying on the guy I'm pursuing to keep me out of court. And that's how the law still remains at the moment. It's outrageous. It's unjust. And I think lacking massive integrity where they put these officers. If he'd gone underneath the truck, all you'd get is that guy's family saying, it's disgraceful. He only did this or whatever, a minor crime, they'll say, or it wasn't my little Johnny. And then it's soon the social media thing. Is it worth a life? And think, well, okay, well, decide that we don't pursue anyone. But then don't say, well, we want you to look into the future if you don't mind and see whether.
In one of the states in America, I can't remember which one it is. California springs to mind, but I don't think it is. Where they have to justify a foot pursuit because things have gone wrong.
This is how it is now, isn't it?
That's just insane.
I just walk, mate. I just.
Don't arrest them. Don't handcuff them. Don't chase them.
No.
What?
So then, what would you do? I know because I'm no longer in the job now. I'll tell you now, Dave, and I suggest you. Well, you're sensible enough not to comment on this, but I wouldn't be stop checking people willy-nilly now. No chance. No chance. There's two sides. People say, yeah, you should just carry on as normal and whatever. I'm just thinking, no, until the public or those who are the College of Policing, the IOPC, until they decide that they're going to invest in it and back you up when you haven't done anything wrong, then I'd be calling off on that now. I've had enough with it. Pursuits I should do, but the pursuits, they're quite fun as well. The pursuits, they say, well, you should just not pursue anyone because if it happens, this happens.
Yeah,
it's not good. It's not balanced right, and it seems like the criminals are getting all the support and the police are getting all the hammering. It's just
you missed it. It was all kicking off over there. I thought I was gonna have to show you some of my public order skills.
Look, where's the little cat's disappeared in a bunch of dog fluff. Look,
where's justice for vision? Wanda, leave the cat alone. I didn't do anything. It wasn't me.
That's brilliant,
hilarious.
So next week I've got I've just been sticking my book on audio. That one there, the Cornish Scoop, because it's I'm trying to do it before Christmas. Audio is you have to obviously speak in a microphone but the software takes ages to then take out all the blips and the. I'm getting pretty good at it now. Think, well, that pause is too long. So you just shorten it and then you take out a little, and sometimes you go, and they drove down the road and you haven't picked it up, you haven't redone it. And so you just take out the R. So it says, and so they drove down the road sort of thing, it's time consuming.
Harry, being an announcer for TV, although would you, if you would like announcing the next program, would you actually shut up and long enough for them to put it on, or will you just keep waffling? That 30 seconds. And now it's time for BBC One Stars or whatever.
Here, what you've been waiting for, Dave Wardell. Dave Wardell talks about the fight that is just about to occur by his.
Talking about talks, frontline chat. We haven't talked about on the road. You have, I know, because I haven't been here, have I?
Yeah.
So we to sort out some more dates, and we got some dates coming up as well, haven't we?
Yeah, the next one. Well, this next one's Paynton, and it is March the 12th, my mum's birthday. So we're looking forward to that. Dave, you and me. There might be someone else with us at that point. There might be someone else with us on that point. Right. So we're just getting that sorted. And then we'll do the big
like that by then.
Huh?
My beard is going to be like that by then.
I thought you were describing something else at that point, but
Keep it clean, keep it clean.
No, it isn't Sergeant Taylor. No, it's not Sergeant Taylor. And it's Sergeant Taylor with an ER anyway, Tracy. He's weird. Ollie Taylor has got his weird surname spelling. It's Tayler. So no, that's going to be that one. Oh my God. See, this always amazes me because I think I wouldn't listen to myself for 7 hours. I listened to Finds and Fables and Audio while I was painting the house. Nearly laughed myself off a ladder. Oh, nice one. That's good. That's good.
I wouldn't listen to Harry for 7 hours.
No. No.
Oh, just quickly before we go, myself and Kay Nightingale will be hopefully releasing some cards very soon. And we're writing some stories. I won't say too much, but Muddy Wet Spaniel. There we go. That's the inspiration. So I'll keep an eye out for that on Finn's stuff, and we'll show you. I might do another live in the week just to show you what we're planning. But it's all very cute and very exciting.
Yeah, cool. I just remembered I did went to Exeter College. I did as well. I had a little bit of a chat with them. But
you got a new train line, haven't you?
What?
Oakhampton to Exeter. Saw that on social media. A new train line. Well, it's not new.
Oh, yeah. Because Oakhampton, I've never been to Oakhampton where it's not raining. I love Dartmoor, and I've done a lot of Duke of Edinburgh stuff, and Oakhampton, I'm so sorry, Oakhampton. It's probably one of the most depressing places in the world because it's so it's always raining, and it's like, but anyway, they're going to kick my ass now. But it's you go to Oakhampton to get to the north of the moor, really. And so the train line,
you just drive
fantastic.
through it, don't you? Or past it. So you always see.
Yeah, we used to.
30, but it's one of those places you never stop.
Yeah, no, I was growing up in Newquay. We used to go to Folkestone by car, which took 8 hours, and the road used to take you through Oakhampton. It's actually quite a good town compared to many others now, because there's actually some independence there. They've got a Waitrose hat, don't you know? So they must be quite posh. It's in all seriousness, it's nicer now, especially when the sun shines. But yeah, fantastic. They've got that's actually going now or something, isn't it? That train line. Yeah,
Wednesday was the first one, but it was a big launch today, I think. But yeah, it was packed trains, they said.
Oh, I think it's fantastic. Really pleased with that, because access to the moors on that then is much better. I mean, you're still a bit of a hike up the road, but if you're going to do that, you're going to be walking on the moors anyway. That's why I never understand why people drive to the gym, although I do. I do. You think, why do you buy a really expensive bicycle that you can ride 100 miles when you could get a rusty old scaffolding tube one? Don't be just as fit after 3 miles? Why do you? I've got too much time on my hands.
Yeah, you have.
I think of these things.
No, you haven't. You're busy now, aren't you? Someone's asked, Julie's asked, who Julie was at Frontline Chat, wasn't she, in Chester?
Yeah.
She has asked if there will be a Finn calendar. Yes, there will. It is just proving a little bit time consuming with what's going on with Finn, but it will be. It will be hopefully it'll be on the website very soon for pre-orders, and then we'll get them out to you before Christmas. So keep your eye on Finn's socials and Finn's website for that.
More importantly, is there a Naked Dave calendar?
You could do a Harry and Dave Frontline Chat naked calendar. I don't think it'd raise much money, but we could do that, can't we?
No. I am. Oh my God! There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's what Dave and I are thinking of. Something like goodness. That.
No, we are not thinking about that. Avert your eyes, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm trying to get it off now.
You go blind.
Yeah. Oh God, I can't move my screen.
Get rid of it.
I am trying. I'm trying to get rid of it. I can't.
You're not. Now you're clicking on stuff.
This is completely.
That's our integrity gone out the window.
There were other things on that screen, weren't there?
There were other things on that screen, Harry.
People are going to play back.
Oh my God.
Just for everyone, that Dave did not know that was going to happen, but at least now you have some handy Christmas tips that you might be able to buy for your partner, especially if things have been slow recently. Shall we let you go while you might still have a job, though?
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Okay, I think we'll go. I think we need to go. Thank you ever so much, everyone. Really nice to catch up and chat with everyone, and we'll catch you later. Cheers now. Way.